So hello everybody, it is me, Demetra Kaye, and as you can see, I got my good friend David Dimitri here with me. Of course, you guys know Donovan is still globe trotting, if you will. I think he's still in the DR. He's making his way back to the States. I think he'll be back here on Tuesday. So again, my good friend David is here, and he is going to help us have this discussion for the first 45 minutes or so, and then I'm going to bring in Don. Y'all know Don. He is usually in the comment section. He is a moderator, and he's going to come in and give his whole, little take on the boycott and all of that. And so, of course, you guys know that we are going to be discussing the woman king. It's a great debate, I guess you can say. And so that we are going to do, I'd like to say hello and welcome to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers, you are the co-hosts. And we also read your comments because we feel like you shouldn't just sit there and watch us talk. You should have a voice as well. Also like to say a big giant thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything that he does behind the scene to make the show go further on Facebook. And so again, the purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people. Now, once again, I haven't had to ask it in a while, but, I know you guys are cool. But let's try to use some emotional intelligence as we have this very spirited discussion. And it is going to be spirited for a whole host of reasons. But let's use some emotional intelligence to where we do not let our emotions get away from us, in that we critically think and use a little logic instead of, some of the emotionally charged conversation around this, because I know it is very heated and, sensitive and all that kind of stuff. And so, David, what say you before we get started?
Benevolence. Love to everybody. Yeah. Gratitude for bringing me on. I just got to say we living in some really chaotic times consciously, and I hope everybody's out there keeping themselves stable. And remember, no woman or man is an island of their own. It takes each one to together to support one another and lift each other up and keep each other going forward.
So, absolutely. So, all right, let's get into it. So, first, I want to say that yesterday I made a short video. And I did misspeak in that I said that one of the writers of The Woman King was Black. Now, I will say that as I did my research, I did see where they said that Gina Bythewood, I think that's how you say it, was a writer. But in fact, she is a director. So I want to say that I stand corrected on that. But I want to give just a little bit of the information about the movie. And I should say that I did go see it today, because I can't have a conversation with y'all about the movie on, something that I didn't see. I couldn't critique it or be for it if I didn't see it. So basically, the movie is starring Viola Davis and John Boyega. It was released this past week, September 16th. So far, it has grossed about $20 million. The writers are Dana Stevens and Maria Bello. And they are white women. I just want to say that. Now, Maria got the inspiration when she visited Benin. Now, it is based off of a true story, but of course there are a lot of embellishments. Now, the synopsis says this, that in 1800s, a group of all-female warriors protect the kingdom of Dahomey with skills and fierceness unlike anything the world has ever seen. Faced with a new threat, General Nanisca trains the next generation of recruits to fight against a foreign enemy that's determined to destroy their way of life. Now, the kingdom is ran by that of a king, Gezo. So it's not, Viola Davis's character is not the king of the kingdom. Now, he actually ruled from 1818 to that of 1859. Dahomey is so Dahomey is the kingdom, and Agoji are the warriors. They are the female warriors, also known as the Amazons by Europeans. Now, also, the Agoji, their tribe inspired that of the Black Panthers, the Dora Milaje, the women warriors in the Black Panther. Now, Viola's character is a fictional character, as with most of the characters in the movies. Now, these are the facts as I know them. Now, of course, I brought my good friend on here because he gonna tell you a lot about himself. but he is world traveled. When I say my friend has the know-how, the everything that we need to know here, it's really an understatement. All right. So these are the facts that I know. Okay. So the Dahomey, they did trade slaves. They are located in Western Africa, from what I understand, in between Nigeria and Togo. Also, they reigned from like 1680s to 1852, give or take. Now, not only did they do slave trading, they captured people for religious sacrifices to their kings that passed on, and they labeled them as deities. So they also did human sacrifices. All right. And so they continued to do slave trading long after Britain decided to stop in 1833. Now, they did sell slaves to the Europeans. And what else? But some of them were kept as to work on the royal farm, if you will, and they were trained as warriors, as we saw in the movie. Now, the Agoji were originally trained to hunt elephants by King Baja. I think I said that right. Maybe I didn't. But after his death, his sister Hangbi trained them to be warriors to guard her during her reign during the 18th century. Now, the Dahomeys' male population had dropped due to, war and things like that, which is why the Agoji roles, the female warriors, came to prominence because of the male population dwindling. And so toward the end of the dominance of the Dahomey tribe, the French got upset over their show of force, and they tried to force gender on them. Now, basically, to make them more feminine, and the Europeans used it as an excuse to civilize, if you will, that of Africa. Okay, and so says that the Dahomeys embraced gender equality, which is partially why they had female warriors. Now, the question I have is, can a woman be king? Well, if you know a little bit of history, and my friend David is going to fill us in, we know that especially during Kemet, Egypt, they had female pharaohs. Okay, so pharaohs are what? They are kings, and they actually called them female pharaohs. Now, some of them were Nefertiti, Cleopatra, and Merneptah, I think that's how you say it. And she actually was the first pharaoh. And when she died, of course, pharaohs, they buried everybody, the servants and the cats and the dogs and all of their, gold and everything with them. Now, originally, they thought that she was a man until they exhumed her stuff. You know how they do. They go off into the tombs and exhume them. And then they labeled her a queen, but she was labeled a king when she died. And so that's what I have. And so obviously I have a bunch of questions, but David, let me get to say hello to everybody in the comments, and then I want you to jump on in there. So who do we have? Amawali the Elder. How you doing? And I'm not going to read the comments just yet. I'm going to read them after David go ahead and says what all that he needs to say. But I just want to acknowledge you guys. Donna, how you doing? Curly Girl, Beverly, Anais, how you doing? And RGT, how you doing? And I think this is Cosmo. How are you? Thunder, what's going on? Tracy, Rosalind, CG, Michael, Eunice, only Pamela's way. Let's see who else is on here. Tawana, Aaron, Brother Reggie, what's going on with you? Wendell, and Donovan, what's going on? Donovan is around the world somewhere, the pioneer. How you doing, baby? And Jago, how you doing? Marcus, thank you so much for sharing the link on Facebook. If you guys are watching this on Facebook, come on over, click the link. I would love to read your comment. Now, I want to say this off the top. I'm probably not going to get to all of the comments, but we are going to be jumping in and out. So if you have a question you absolutely want me to read, put question and then put your question so that I can see it. Tisha, how you doing? Eunice and Jay Joa, thank you so much for the donation. You do say that the Dahomey tribe is based on a real tribe that massacred so many Africans that even colonizers told them they had to chill out. Yes, indeed. And Cameroonian, I hope I said that right. How you doing, diaspora? Anastasia, and so many people on here, but I appreciate and love all you. Kevin, how you doing? Adam, Sean, and Obvious Truth. And there we go. So I'm going to get to you guys' comments, but David, what say you, brother?
Oh, give thanks. Gratitude. I actually got to finally finish the whole film. I could have watched the film 2 weeks ago. I walked in the room. I could have watched the film, and being in the industry, certain people get the films early, like back when people were on the street selling the CDs. That's still going on, but it's like people don't got to sell them on the CDs. They can go to Netflix and just buy it for the night. So I started to watch the film, but people were smoking too much in the room. Nowadays you don't know what's in the weed. I had to get up out of there. So finally I got to see the film a couple of days yesterday in its totality. And I just want to say, because of my background, who I am, all that I know, all that I experienced, an African man once told me in the 90s, education is not a full, real education without travel. And so I took it upon myself to step away from poverty in the United States to travel the world instead of getting on a bus to be put in a prison. So that was, in my mind, it was just pretty obvious to buy a plane ticket and figure out, once I get to the Caribbean, once I got to Africa, once I'm there, figure it out and in doing so, I was enlightened with a lot of knowledge. And in the early 90s, I was a big reader. And I read what's now a popular book called The Destruction of Black Civilization. Well, it was like 94. I took my time. I didn't run through the book. And I read 2 books at the same time. One is called Introduction to African Civilization, and the other book is called The Destruction of Black Civilization. In reading those books, they both pieces that were missing. See how the fingers come together? One book had this, one book had that, and it brought everything together. And one of the most inspirational stories in them was of this culture, of this development of these great warriors, queens, these women who could do everything, because I was born and raised in martial arts. Athlete, competitive boxer, competitive martial artist, fighting in the streets, and to know and to go through this rigorous training, running the 400, competitive, playing football, putting the pads on, getting in the ring, all of my life. I know what it is to get an injury and to have to recover. I know what it is to have to go through rigorous training and have to work your way up within a program with people competing to get to bring out the best in me, and they bring out the best in them. So I only could imagine way back then what they had to go through, knowing that people had been invading, and reading these 2 books, it brought it together to realize, no, this development of this woman regime, it was like a regime in its own. It was their own cult, their own secret society. They were like what Adolf Hitler had the SS. They were that, but of course, this is for the positive. Let's not get it twisted. This is for the betterment of the melanoid and the earth. And so it inspired me when I realized, and I got to realize, that the Arabs institutionalized slavery. Europeans took the game and globalized it, right? Well, what happened is they were dealing with the Arabs and Persians invasions first. So this actually precedes dealing with the, let me watch what I say. It precedes dealing with whatever you want to call the Ochoawadifos. They all Ochoawadifos, but dealing with the European Ochoawadifo. So they were actually, this group of women were going over to Madagascar. And if you look up the name of the Black original indigenous women and cultures of Africans in Madagascar, their name interprets the English as undefeatable, undefeatable. The same name as the sisters from Benin. And in their culture, they said, oh, our ancestors came from Benin. They call it that. So we have to understand like this was going on preceding the Europeans. The development of them was just a resurgence or taking something that was esoteric and bringing it out to the open to everybody because of its necessity. So now that we know that, and we see the brilliance and purpose of this film, the inspiration of this film goes beyond just checking with the skin color and checking with the name African. This letting you know that this has been going on clearly even before in Benin, that African melanoid women can step up the game and take out a regime, a platoon of men that are coming into opposition, you know. So that's what I want to say at the beginning, because I feel that's the inspiration that hit me reading those books. And I want to say, remember, y'all, we critics, we got to criticize each other's work. I understand, yet we have to see the necessity of the work. So we have to be careful on how we criticize in film, because we have to understand, we saying, well, why they didn't say that? Why they said it this way? When the difference from writing a book, you can have a huge book and put everything in it. A film is just a little ass screenplay. It's not really shit. It's just a little ass thing. And then the director and them get to add more to it because they're the visual, right? But it's such a small opportunity when you're making a film. You don't have, and you cannot put so much in it.
So let me ask you this, David, because I see you guys' comments. I just kind of, want to acknowledge y'all. I'm not reading them all right now because, I'm kind of just, letting David do his thing. But I do see a lot of people in the comment section basically saying they don't like the fact that it was a woman king and pioneer. I saw you say, what are they going to have next?
What's bothering them about that?
Huh?
What's bothering them about that?
Well, I guess because they're saying they don't like women to be masculine.
Being a person out there fighting with a sword, being a king or a queen, you never had to pick up a sword. You just have to strategize. You got to outsmart people. So what? Women can outsmart people?
Well, they feel like it's masculine to call her a woman king. Why not call her a woman queen?
True.
So, and then D, how you doing? He says, y'all know this is a fictional story, right? You know the woman king her part is definitely fiction. Y'all know this, right? Well, if you were here at the beginning, I did say that Viola's character is not real. It is fiction. The movie is based off a true story, although a lot of it is embellished. So I want to say that, again, that we've already acknowledged that the movie is not real. We know that it is Hollywood. But I want to just say this really quick. I did go see the movie, as I said. And of course, we know we got this boycott going on. For whatever reason, you don't want to see it. But I did go see it because I cannot in good faith have a conversation with you about something that I did not see. But I will say this, what I saw, I'm like, what are these people mad about? Like, if you really saw the movie, you'd be like, oh, okay. Now, I don't know how y'all got your narrative. If you did not see the movie, I don't want to give it away because y'all might, see it or whatever. I don't know. And listen, David nor I are trying to make you go see this movie because Viola and them ain't paying us a dime. You know what I'm saying? They're not paying us to tell y'all to go see the movie. But what I'm saying is, when I saw the movie, I'm like, they really mad. Well, like, what are they mad for? Because they didn't shy away from the fact that the Dahomey, I say it all different ways, the homie were slave traders. They don't run away from that at all.
The stuff was going on out there. Stuff that did any of y'all know about the tree of forgetfulness? Does anybody know about the tree of forgetfulness?
I've heard of it.
Do you know what that was about?
Wasn't it something about they were trying to make people forget their identities or something like that with some sort of a ritual? Yeah,
it was, people have to understand, like you were just saying, king and queen. A lot of people don't understand. Like, one of the first people I met when I got to Southern Africa, when I first moved over to Southern Africa, was a young prince and his sister. I was dating his sister. I didn't think much of it when they were saying that. But then everywhere we go, we're going to these big time events and all this different stuff. And I start realizing they don't work no jobs. They own all these houses, people driving for us. And this and such. I realizing, and they put me up on game. It's the hierarchy. That's how Africa works. That's how certain places in the world work, right? And so if we're already practicing different forms, I'm not saying the same type of slavery as Europeans and Arabs and Persians did, but if we already practicing rivalry and slavery on each other, you know, we're gonna sometimes have some crazy shit going on that we're doing. And the thing about being in that hierarchy, we don't care what's happening to those outside of the hierarchy. And it's not just Europeans that do that. Don't even get that's bullshit. People do that shit all the time in their businesses, at school, on the team. People be just picking at each other and they don't care if they're the same race. So you can imagine what was going on in the tree of forgetfulness was where, oh, we're going to send y'all over, but before we send y'all to these Arabs and Persians we selling you off to, or before we send you to these Europeans further on in time, we all got to walk around this and chant this. And it's going to make you forget your ancestral, your warrior spirit, forget your ancestors, make you detach you. That was something that's how deep rooted it was in the culture, you know, because slavery is a trade. It's not just warfare. It's warfare because of the situation we're in. But slavery is a marketable trade and industry for thousands of years up on the planet Earth. So it's like slavery of human beings. It was a fucked up situation. And it just degraded. It degraded so bad once the Persians and the Arabs and them, that by the time the Europeans got there, they could just eat it up. You know, and people need to realize no matter what you want to believe, those people in those hierarchy positions were not giving a damn about the common people. You know, that's a whole nother life and world to be in a royal. That's a whole nother mind state. So people, the common person, Black American or people in the diaspora don't want to believe that anybody did that type of shit. It was normal for them. They was already tripping with each other before Europeans. You see what I'm saying? And so that's a necessity of the film. You want to criticize the film, but guess what? It got made. I got something about the film I didn't like. I'll say if somebody want to know, but
well, let me actually get to that because I see, and hello to everybody came on. I'm going to try to get to as many comments as possible, but I see people asking, was he LGBTQ? So I think they're referring to the queen, the king. No, he was not LGBTQ. The king, Gezo was his name. He actually had a whole bunch of wives. Now, the Golgi, they are actually married in a way to the king, but they are not sexual in any manner. And they cannot have husbands or anything like that. But he actually had wives and a lot of wives. But no, so he is not. But there was something in the movie. And David, what's your opinion on that particular part? Because I agree with you when we talked about it, that the character in the movie. What was your, tell them what it is and what you thought of it.
First, I want to tell y'all, I never in my life had a problem with that sexuality shit. Like, so when I speak, I'm going to talk in neutrality. I am never had a problem with people in a sex endeavors, whatever you want to call it. I didn't grow up thinking that homosexuality was a normal thing. I didn't. It wasn't everywhere like it is now. It was not the worst thing in the world, but it was odd and weird when I saw it, right? So the reason why I'm saying that is so you know that I never had a problem with anyone because of their sexuality. But I'm a masculine man. And so the thing is, from my experiences in Africa specifically, and then growing up in all these Black community in the streets, in the hoods, being on all Black, everything growing up on the teams, football teams and everything. It's Shaka Zulu had it right. He had an advisor right next to him and this. That was Swayze, like Tookie, that was a masculine man. Yet, through my experience, I'm not done. Through my experience, in dealing with the prince and the princess I told y'all about, the Hosa prince and princess in Ibayi or Port Elizabeth, South Africa. Dealing with my other friends when I went to Northern South Africa and in Lesotho, my friends that were in the hierarchy. It's people, that's the most spoiledest world. Everybody in that world is trying to be like Floyd Mayweather. They're trying to be spoiled. That's the type of mentality that is in that world. So it can produce LGBTQ individuals in that royal hierarchy world, regardless if they Black or African or not. You don't have to believe it. You can say, well, Africans, of course we know Africans ain't dealing with that. Black people ain't originally dealing with that. But what I'm talking about is circumstantial and situations in reality. And so they put that person in there in that film, the advisor that was on the side of the guy. They was just trying to express something to me. It had nothing to do with the reality in the 1820s that was really going on. Somebody, LGBTQ, wanted some status, wanted to get some views, and I ain't hating them. That's what y'all chose to do. I wouldn't turn my back on the whole movie just because of that. Because children might not get you to teach them like you teaching those loved ones you got access to that's beneath you. That movie, what's going to put them on then when they become a teenager, maybe they're going to go and pick up some books and find out more. Now, that is something I think that wasn't necessary and it wasn't right culturally at all. But at the same time, in that type of world where everybody's the snobs, everybody trying to be up under and impress the king, he's like Floyd Mayweather, got all these people around trying to yes mans, no mans. Like, that's the type of world it is when you a king or queen. A lot of people just don't get that. Even while I'm telling them they don't get it. Dude, all kind of little rascals. The worst people be around people when they got millions, when they got the spot and the power. So you can't really say it wasn't no gay people around the kings and queen back then. You don't know what people would do to get that position to be next to the king. So it's up in the air, but I don't think that the king will be really openly having somebody openly gay around him in West Africa like that.
Yeah, and that was the thing. So yeah, in this movie there was an LGBTQ character, and I'm like, it's just like he doesn't do anything. You know, it's like, it's honestly, so that I will concede that seemed like an agenda, because it's like he didn't. Yeah, he didn't have a significant role.
But when the Jews had gave Viola and them the money to make the movie.
Well, you know the answer to that.
If they didn't place those two Jewish women to write it, and if they didn't allow the LGBTQ, I don't think they at all would have got what they got.
Absolutely.
That's the nature of the beast of Hollywood.
Exactly. And we know that, you know, Viola took her like 7 years or so to even get a studio to look at it or whatever the case is. And so absolutely, I personally didn't see why they put the LGBTQ character in there. It was just out of place because he would just kind of like appear here and there.
It was like some Buster shit. Excuse my. It was weak. It was like they was trying to look. It's the South Africa and the Central Africa that I went to just 10, 15 years ago, and then back and forth to over the last 20-something years. The West Africa I went to is not that Africa in 1820.
No, absolutely.
Not at all. Not at all. So I've seen gay people. You know, like I said, around, you know, people are just, when people got money, people got power, it be the worst people around. It be the slimiest, scummiest. You know what I mean? I mean, you wouldn't even see it coming type, knife in your back type people. You know what I mean? So it's like somebody being gay could be produced in that world. But the way they presented it is as if it was okay, it was normal, and this is the way it was. It was just like they can be openly gay and be calling shots on the empire. And that has to be a secret if somebody's gay like that, calling shots on the empire in Africa. That's now some, but I'm talking about back then. That couldn't be. It couldn't have been in the open. I don't see it.
Yeah, the way he was placed in the movie, like I said, it was very odd. And Dion, how you doing? He says, reading about King Ghetto, you say he was a brutal slave trader. Yes, he was. And so also I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was. And hello to everybody who came on here. Yes, in my short video, I did say that it was a black woman and a white woman that wrote it. From what I saw yesterday, it said that Gina Bythewood, I think that's how I say it, was also a writer, but she's actually a director. So it is two white women. One wrote the screenplay, and then I guess one actually wrote the movie.
I like to remark about the screenplay because going to film school for pre-production, that's in post-production, that's my specialty. And what people need to realize, especially you all listening, being the Melanoid kings and queens you are, screenplays aren't written by individuals. Them two ladies didn't write. They had to check in with Davis. They had to check in with some of the brothers and sisters. And I'm pretty sure some real janky shit was taken out because there's no way, no matter how much they say that woman studied that, a lot of that story wasn't really just about the culture. A lot of the visuals were cultural. That's a whole different part. When you're writing the story is about the character and expressing virtue and expressing emotions and showing character flaws and showing virtue of the specific individuals. It's showing tendencies when you're writing and events and highs and lows. That's what writing a story is about. What your eyes see in that movie visually is not written in a screenplay. The words are that you hear. So to grasp that, you understanding that the stuff that we are criticizing in it is the screenplay writing decisions to decide to find a gay man. And I'm pretty sure others have different stuff they criticize it. But I'm just saying that because we were just talking about that. They decided on that. And how they produced them physically is different from what was written. Some of the other stuff, like how she ended up back with her daughter. Her daughter was heroic like her. That type of stuff is what Black people go through that. That's real life. Down south during the 17 and 1800s, that's stuff that's happening. And we have to understand that. I think that those women didn't sit back and write that in a bubble. I think that a lot of Davis and a lot of others were sitting back. They got the screenplay as usual and went through it and made the changes they wanted. And then it ended up, because they're on a time schedule, deadlines, millions and millions and millions of dollars invested. Okay, this is the best we got. Let's do it. But this wasn't just those women who produced that screenplay, that story. Impossible. That's why it was so good.
I agree with you. I mean, there's things that was put in that movie that I don't think white women had the capacity to understand enough to say, no Negroes needed. We got it. We understand, Black people per se. So yeah, I tend to think that there are people who helped. And like you said, Viola, I don't think she would allow certain things in the movie. If you ask me, yeah, they kind of made the homie heroic in a way, because we do know that they were brutal slave traders. However, slave trading did not start with Africans. It started with the Turks and the Europeans, right? And then, Black people said, all right, or Africans all over, instead of us,
War produces slavery. War,
yes.
Greed produces war.
Mm-hmm. and the Europeans and, the Turks. They were, and originally, from what I understand, they weren't even after Africans. They were after the salt, because they were going through the bubonic plague and all of that. And then when they got over there, and this is per Professor James Smalls, said once they got over there, they were like, oh, there's some strong people over here, because the people that they wanted to do the labor could not handle it, would not survive. And we were well-rounded and versed in everything. So I say that to say, Black people did not start the slave trade, as a lot of people like to go on the narrative, because I like to say this as well. When we keep talking about, Africans traded slaves, or Africans traded slaves, what we do is we cancel out the fact that that was done and created by white people.
By capitalists.
Exactly.
Capitalist Europeans. By Christian capitalist Europeans. By Muslim, white, and mixed Arabs and Persians. Right. That's who did that.
Absolutely. And I keep seeing, people talking about, like, this is kind of why it bothers me a little bit, because I keep seeing, even though it has been explained a copious amount of times as to why she was the woman king, I still keep seeing people who are hell-bent on it. Huh?
She earned it.
Yes.
And so let's ask them this. So if y'all so stuck and wrong that she was the woman king, so you more courageous than Moses, Harriet Tubman? Is you more courageous than Moses, Harriet Tubman? What have you did for Black people Moses and Harriet Tubman did? Why you talking about it can't be no queen? She deserved, Harriet Tubman deserved it. You don't have any imagination how many men that African woman probably had to, white and slave trading Black men, that them women had to put down there in West Africa. That's cold-blooded.
But so, David, while you're here, for the next couple of minutes, we're gonna have somebody else come on here. As a man, I want you, because I can't speak, for men, but I can tell you that I'm a little bit annoyed in that I keep seeing men more focused on the fact that she was called a woman king. And as you said in the movie, she was actually through 99% of the movie referred to as a general, because she was the general. Yeah, she was the general of the women warriors, and she wasn't even given that title until the very end, because like you said, David, she earned that title. But as a man, what do you think about hearing that narrative? And it is sad. We keep hearing this narrative from our men. They might as well make a husband queen, and all this other stuff. What do you think about that? Why are Black men so focused on the fact that this woman, and as I said in the beginning, if you know your history, pharaohs were also women, and they were also called kings. So what is your whole take on why men are so hell-bent on being annoyed by her being called the woman king?
We have two books that are so powerful into the subconscious and into the culture of Blacks of the diaspora and Africans in Africa. One book is called the Quran. The other book is called the Bible, the NGO mixed with the Torah, the Bible. So these books are cultural, it's subconscious beliefs. Then every individual, male or female, just like sometimes in circumstances, some of our own women can have it out for the men. So this is not an isolated situation. This is something that white supremacy, because feminism is a branch of white supremacy. This is what they use, divide and conquer. This is the spirit of divide and conquer. And so when you want, not believe, but you want women to be from a rib of some ancestor or man, so that's your only way to feel equal, because of that subconscious belief system coming from fantasy given to you in books. And then you believe the book is more important than people. And then there's this war, this social circular society war going on, because it's not just Black people, where the females and males are against each other. So we got to defend ourselves. One thing I learned in martial arts, and that's another part of the film that I had a little criticism for, was the fighting scenes, but that's my ego talking. But because there's probably a little jealousy in me wishing I was the one choreographing it. But brothers, it was a myth. Nobody came from nobody rib. And you know what? This male-female thing, we've all been hurt. Male and female. Before there was a male-female thing, if we was over in indigenous living, people get their heart broke. They fall in love out of love. Some people get used. It's just part of life. Hey, the ancient Kemetic had it right. Nubia had it right. The woman king. There's nothing wrong with it. What if it's a civilization where the women's rule everything and a man earned his way up and they end up calling him the man queen? Okay. It's not to be disrespectful. It's just.
That was my question. So do you think that this movie is labeled the woman king to emasculate Black men?
Clearly not. Now, this is the issue. It was a group effort on the name. It was a group effort to put a synopsis together. It was a group effort to create a first screenplay, a third screenplay, a group effort to get it looked at, funded, a group effort to come up with the final screenplay that's going to be used and directed. So when we say we depend, when you ask that question, it's like it's impossible that, to me, it's impossible they called it that, to be emasculating Black men. It has absolutely nothing to do with it, especially looking back, seeing that Kemet called Queen Tai and other honorable queens that were even taught and trained by their honorable kings. This is just a saying. This battle going on in society was put in that film. You could look at it with the LGBTQ situation with that male. Yeah, there. But the film itself, no. But I'll say, they will not fund any of those Black Seminoles, a film about the Black Seminoles, or any film about the Black or growing people of the Caribbean that told them white people ass the fuck up. Excuse my language. They ain't gonna do that. They ain't gonna show how Black men was putting in work. And that's why we still here today. But they will fund that female movie. But at the same time, I don't believe that. Guess why? There's no Black men pushing for it. There's no Black men putting it together. And in Hollywood, I know they're not. At the top level, I'm talking about. Denzel ain't pushing for that. Only person that would push for something like that is probably and he ain't got no power no more. The brother that did Blade, Wesley Snipes, would do some shit like that. Excuse my language, y'all. I cuss a lot, but I don't believe it was a slight or any cap on Black men at all. And I don't think Black women being shown in this light, especially when it being factual, is a slight. That should be an inspiration. I'm not in a place with myself where I feel belittled because women in shining.
Let me interrupt you for a bit, and we're going to actually bring on Don in just a few, but I actually want to put there he is. So hang tight, Don. Stu, I think that's how you say your name. I've been watching your comments.
Well, you think I sound like the woman sphere? You know how me and you can handle that, because I'm not the one, homie. I'm telling you, like, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah,
but I know who I am, because I'm gonna say my mouth. If I was in prison, I would have said this. I know, because I had. So
that's right. I got you, boo. I got you. And that's why I wanted to address it, because as I said in the top of the show, we can all have an opinion here. And I'm sorry that I'm not able to get to everybody because, it's just a different type of Sunday. But what we will not do, and I ask this nicely, is to not call names. And if we can think logically and not emotionally, S2, I think is how I said, You've so far called us liars and a whole host of things. Now, I get it. That it's an emotionally charged conversation. But if we cannot have a conversation without all of that, because I don't do that. I don't do that. I can't have a conversation with somebody who is not interested in that. If you're interested in throwing rocks and all that kind of stuff, maybe this ain't the show for you. Come back when it's a little bit more unnerving for you. And I would ask that of everybody. Usually on this show, we're all, we don't always agree, but we try to behave ourselves. And so, this whole woman spirit thing, I don't even understand what that is, but I think
it's a lot of drama.
Huh?
It's a lot of drama. It's like the mental and that, like I said, that's part of that's part of the government, the secret society plan to have the men and women fighting. What good is it for us to keep this shit going?
Right. So anyway, David, I'm going to let you go. I love you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Yes, we are going to get together. And you guys, if you didn't know, I'm going to tell you, I was actually featured in one of David's productions.
Honestly, they loved your part. That's how I ended up getting the screenplay optioned out.
All right, well, tell them I'm available anytime.
I'm pushing for it. It'd be a nice production if we get it done. You know what I mean?
Not if, brother. When, brother?
It's been a hard road, though.
You got it, boo. You got it. So I will see you next time I roll through California. I want to come by and see you. So thank you so much. I love and appreciate you for being here. And I'm going to let you go and bring on Don.
Gratitude. Vanilla.
Bye. What up, brother? Come on. Let me see your beautiful face. Hey.
Let me just adjust this here. Try to adjust this here so I can be in the screen. There we go. So what is going on? This is crazy. This whole, I look at the timing. I haven't seen the film. I'm probably not going to see the film. I haven't gone to the cinema in so long. It's just been so long. And because I figured out what all this stuff is. And for the most part, you're not being entertained. You're being propagandized. There's an agenda. And you guys were talking a lot about that in the last conversation that you were having. There's an agenda. And wow, it's crazy. It's crazy. Timing's everything. And why this story?
Well, again, and can I be honest with y'all? And again, y'all, this is Brother Don. He actually is usually in the comment section moderating and all that. But, I thought we'd have him on. He's like, I would love to sit in with you. And so I am so, grateful that he is. So he actually, is on the other side of saying he is not going to see the movie. And hello to everybody that came on here. I'm going to start catching up on your comments as soon as I can. But I forgot what I was going to say. I got off into the comment section. But all I know I was going to say, originally, I heard about the Woman King, but I hadn't heard as much about the Woman King until I saw, people talking about it on Twitter. Boycott the Woman King, boycott the Woman King. So I saw a whole lot of conversation about it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go see it as, sitting up here as a content creator. And, I do delve in journalism. I thought it would be my due diligence to see it. I can't tell you, my opinion on it if I did not see it. I will say, as I said in the beginning, it's not what I have seen the complaints to be. So I'm just kind of wondering how people are forming these narratives about something they didn't see. Although I do understand how people are saying that the Dahomey tribe, have been made to look like heroes in this movie. So I do get that, and I will concede that point. But again, also I've seen a lot of conversation behind it being called the Woman King, and a lot of Black men feel like it's done to emasculate them. And so that's where I am with it. Wasn't really terribly interested in the movie. It looked interesting, but I went to see it because of a lot of hype, which is probably why a lot of people went to see it. Like, okay, we're going to boycott it. But Don, why have you on here? Let me ask you this. What if we boycotted other things that really are significant in our community the way we boycott things like this movie. What are your opinions on that?
Well, now, my thing is this. I'm not boycotting the movie. I'm just not going to see it. I have no interest in it whatsoever because, I'm about truth. Tell me the truth. I don't want to just hear things that sound good. And I know too much about the homie and who they are and their origins and so forth. And they don't even exist anymore. I think the land they were is in it's Benin now or something like that. But they don't even exist anymore. And what's really interesting is Dahomey. Dahomey is the home of this descendant whose name is Dan. And Dan was so wicked that when you look in the end time prophecies, they're not listed anymore. They were so wicked. And this is part of their wickedness. This is what they did. They did this to their brothers. And so I don't know how well this boycott's going to do on the film side. I know that they keep us at each other enough where we can't get organized.
Right. And that's kind of my take back from this whole boycott thing. It's like, I'm not saying, listen, I'm not trying to tell y'all to go see the movie. I'm not telling y'all not to see the movie. I think you should decide on your own. But are we having an echo at all? You guys let me know. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and see real quick. When I see us do things like let's boycott certain things, I'm like, well, what does that really do for us? Like, we don't control Hollywood. And I also saw somebody say something about making a movie about Fannie Lou Hamer, Harriet Tubman, and things like that, which I think they made a movie about Harriet Tubman, if I'm not mistaken. I did not go see that. But it's like, let's not lie to kick it. Y'all know if they made a movie about Fannie Lou Hamer or anybody else, y'all wouldn't go see it. Y'all wouldn't go see it. And like y'all go see other stuff. And the other thing I want to know is, like, we talk about boycotting this movie, which is your right. I don't care if you see it. I ain't getting paid to promote this movie. But are y'all boycotting the white people who actually have descendants of slave or slave masters and slave traders? Are y'all that vehement about it? Are y'all that vehement about boycotting things that actually are really harmful to the Black community? Because when I hear people are mad about the title being the woman king, I'm like, Black men, are y'all that fragile to where a title of a movie could, make y'all feel emasculated? And y'all think that movie is the only thing, or a major thing rather, that has emasculated Black men? I mean, that's kind of where my mind goes. And so I want to ask y'all, what else can we be doing with this force of energy we have boycotting a movie that we ain't making no money from? And I'm sorry if I'm buffering a little bit, you guys. It'll come back. But, we're not making any money from this. So what else can we really be putting all this energy behind? Well, let me see here. I'm going to go to the bottom here. And hello to everybody that came on again. Excuse me if I am freezing up a little bit. It's just the internet. It's just kind of crazy around here. And Abba, how you doing? It says another joke on American Black man and Black woman. But how? How are we? How is that a joke on us? And why do we own? And let's say that. And I'm not saying it's not. But what if? Let's say there is a nefarious reason that Hollywood made the woman king. Why do we own what they may be trying to do to us? Why do we own that? Why do we care so much? How white people are trying to depict us? Like, why does that matter so much to us? And let's see here, Marty said Black people live in a matriarch society. You are absolutely right, and we have been for a very long time, especially in America. It should not be that way. I personally think it should be a patriarchal society, but it's not. So I don't think a movie had anything to do with that. And the movie is really largely fiction, sprinkled with a little bit of facts in it. So how does a movie emasculate y'all as Black men? Don, can you answer that for me?
Well, see, I don't think that a masculine man would be emasculated by the title. I think the title, I mean, it's like, I see the title as confusion. I see it as more part of their gender confusion. They play the long game, okay? They've been at this for 60 years, okay? And what they did, they succeeded. Now, they played on several different fronts, but they've succeeded because you got these men up here talking about blah, 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 and all in their feelings. See, so they've succeeded. They have feminized you. And, you know, part of what Demetra was saying about it all being a plan, yeah, it's always been a plan. It's always been part of the plan. Destroy the head and the body will die.
Come on, brother.
You know, and so you have to see these things for what they are. And like I said, they hit us on several different fronts. How do I know that? I'm a victim of it. And I don't really say victim of it, but an unwilling participant in this experiment or design to destroy not only the black man, but the black family. See, they understand, they know stuff y'all don't know because you won't pick up a book and read. But you don't have any excuse because there's too many promoters out here speaking the truth and sharing with us what's really cracking. You're in your feelings because you're confused. You don't know who you are. Pick a pronoun. Just one pronoun. And come out of this confusion. See, while they got you all up in confusion, they're making moves. They're making moves. They know what time it is. Why do you think a lot of people are leaving the United States? They
go ahead.
They know what time it is. They know what time it is. They know what's coming down. Why do you think all this stuff is leaving the United States? All this stuff. I say stuff. You know, that stuff that's going over there. And money. And money. Why do you think all of that is occurring? They're keeping you distracted while they're making the moves of what's coming next. It's all distraction.
I totally agree. And also, not just this movie. I'm gonna mute your mic, Jeff, because I think I hear a little bit, and then you can unmute it. Not just this movie, but a lot of things keep us distracted. It's like, my God. Like we are arguing and going back and forth, boycott this movie. And when I see that, I'm like, fine. But there's so many other things we should be boycotting. We as Black people, we still voting for the Democratic Party to continue to oppress us. But we won't boycott that. But we loud all on Twitter and everywhere else. Boycott the movie. They're feminizing us. You know how Black men are continue to be effeminized? Anytime you continue to vote these Democrats in and they ignore y'all and they call the Black woman the backbone of the Democratic Party, and then after they've done trying to feminize you, I'm not saying that about you, but then they realize they can't win without you. What do they say? Hey, Black man. Oh, Stacey Abrams is one of them. Yeah, I can't win without you, Black men. But yet they've emasculated you, ignored you, and everything else in between. But y'all got all this testosterone for a movie that ain't gonna make or break the Black community. And if y'all think that movie is the reason why, you know, the world sees Black men as emasculated, you need to research. There's a whole lot of reasons why people see Black men as emasculated. But the question is, like Don said, do you feel that way? Do you feel emasculated? And can a movie really have that much power over you? Two white women who wrote this movie, and Viola Davis acting in the movie, John Boyega acting in the movie, and a whole host of other beautiful people, Black people in this movie. Do they really have the power to emasculate you? I mean, I'm just asking, but let me get to some of the rest of these comments here. I do not mean to ignore y'all, but, you know, just kind of hard to have, you know, conversation and read all the comments. So please forgive me. And Eunice, you say there's a lot of brainwashing going on with black males and females. To me, they're trying to make black females more masculine and black males more feminine. But let me ask you this, and I know where you're going, but I just want to ask y'all, who is this they, and can they make you something that you really don't want to be? Like, can't nobody make me masculine if I don't want to be that. And so it's like, if we continue to buy into those things, then yeah, I can see that. But how can they, what power do they really have to make us something we truly do not want to be? And let's see here. Who else came on here that I haven't seen in a minute? Rosalind, you said, yes, I'm an equal opportunity boycotter. Okay, that's good to know. And Love JJ, how you doing? It says, yeah, just a little echo. Okay, so that's why I muted it. So Don, whenever you get ready to speak, just raise your hand or whatever, and I'll unmute you and I'll mute myself. And let's see, Danny, how you doing? He says, hon, they must protect the system. And so I'm sorry, but who is they, if you don't mind me asking? How you doing, by the way? And Abba says, that's who's over the movie, Smarty. Okay. And S2 says, how can you say that? I agree with this new co-host. He is more on point. Okay, yeah, and Don is very educated, so thank you for that. And let's see here. Theory of everything. How you doing? You said they allow Lil Nas X, though. Well, but as Dr. Claude, boy, I tell you, Dr. Claude Anderson has told us 100,000 times, we only own and control 3% of the media. What are we doing with the media that we own? You know what we doing? Like, and then that's the other thing. Like, we as black people, we so mad. We so mad with white people, but we won't get off of white people's platforms. We won't get off of white Twitter and stop bitching. We won't get off of white Facebook, YouTube, and any other platform to do it. I know for a fact there's been a whole lot of black people that have tried to start black social media platforms, but guess what? We won't go. You know why? Because we are comfortable. And when I say we, I mean me too, goddammit. We are comfortable staying on white people stuff, complaining about what white people are doing to us. But when black people try to start something, we won't go over there. So that kind of makes us hypocritical, right? And so I say all that to say, with the media that we do have, we spend time fighting with each other. We putting up stuff that ain't going to help us move the ball as black people. So what are we doing with the 3%? Whatever that means when we own it. Byron Allen, y'all know he went whine and cried to black people about how Comcast is shutting us out. Then he goes and buys a black news channel and he's talking about, well, I'm going to allow everybody to be on here. So the things that we're doing with our black media is not really to help black people. So I don't know. Y'all tell me. Thunder again. I mean, not Thunder. Don, jump in whenever you want. Thunder says, did you see the MSNBC report asking will black men vote for Stacey Abrams? Rolly was on there and he was actually talking right. But at the end, she blamed patriarchy, Kevin Samuels, Tariq, and black men for not supporting Stacey. So I saw a little snippet of that. But of course, they're going to get out front with that message that it's black men that are stopping it. But y'all remember, they said black women were the backbone of the Democratic Party. Well, if black women were the backbone of the Democratic Party, why do they need black men? Because when you say black women are the backbone, you discount black men automatically. But the problem is, black women voted for the Democrats at a tune of like, I don't know, 94, 5%. Black men was right behind the black woman with like 89%. It wasn't a giant gap. So they were saying the black woman was, you know, the reason for the Democrats, but it's also the black man as well. So I'm not surprised by that, Thunder. And good Ness Rated, I hope I said it right, says, I'm going to see it. Viola is awesome. Nobody's boycotting rap. Ooh. You know what? If I could spin around in this chair without getting my mic caught around my neck, I would. But and who owns rap? Who owns the rap industry? Who is allowing and telling those rappers to write those lyrics, the drill rap and the, you know, your Megan Thee Stallions and all? Who's in control of that? That industry ain't going under. And guess who their biggest consumer is? Us. I'm glad you said it and not me. All right. And again, Don, whenever you want, jump on in. You ready?
Yeah. Having worked in that industry and understanding them folks, what you're going to find out is if you pick up a few books, you're going to find out them folks was behind everything. They got other people to help them, but they were behind everything. And they give people positions. Like, this was really interesting. This was really interesting this week because of all the talk of, you know, the royal family and all that other stuff. And I wonder if any of our participants in the chat, if they've heard of this, not theory, because they're actually practicing it, called the right to rule. Are you familiar with that, Demetra? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute. You said, am I familiar with the right to rule?
Yeah.
I can't say that I am, if you don't mind explaining it to us.
Okay, basically, one of my teachers was going into it, and it has to do with the replacement theory. This planet is supposed to be ruled by a nation of kings and priests. Now, what they've done in their right to rule is they've usurped those two places from the rightful heirs to it. And now they hold themselves up. That's why they put themselves as separate from everyone else. And they only intermix with themselves so that they can keep that bloodline pure. And that's what they believe. It's actually, there's a, I just bought, phone fell. I just bought these two books. And it's part one and part two. And that's what I was trying to go to real quick. Just so I can give you guys the title of it. Okay, it's called The Missing Links. And it's volume 1 and volume 2. It's Missing Links, or the Anglo-Saxon, the 10 tribes of Israel. Goes deep, y'all. It goes deep. And so that's when you get into the royal family and them believing that they have a right to rule this whole world. And that's why they have so many colonies in their commonwealth. It really frames the ideology by which they rule and why they have no regard for other humans, particularly the ones who are supposed to be ruling this earth, and they know it. So anyway, I might have gone off a little bit.
No, you're fine. And I want to start addressing these. And so, Mr. Pirate Brain, he says, Demetra, you're focusing too much on a woman being king. I'm not. I didn't make that an issue at all. Says the problem is glorifying the Dahomey slave traders. I could care less about a woman king. And yes, in the beginning, I did say that they are, you know, as somebody else also said it, that they were being depicted as heroes, which I do think that is a problem, especially if you know the history. But I'm not focusing on a woman being king at all. That's not my issue. I was bringing that up because I see a lot of people have made that an issue. So, Dorothy, you say, you say, sis, our men are fed up with every single aspect of emasculation, from media propaganda to everyday life, and it's high time we stop allowing them to portray us as hard, rough, rugged woman. Well, Dorothy, I love you dearly, but can't nobody portray me as something I'm not. And a lot of that, you know, if we fall into that, then, I mean, yeah, they've never tried to portray us as Black people as anything positive since they was bringing us over here on the Middle Passage. So there was never a time in American history in regards to Black people or anywhere that they tried to portray us other than what they're portraying us as now. So I say all that to say, I mean, nobody can portray me as masculine unless I am that, unless I am out in the streets or wherever, you know, acting masculine as a woman. So I just kind of want to put that out there. But let me also ask you this. What power do we have to stop them? What power do we have to stop them for portraying us anywhere or any type of way? I'm just asking. And let's see here. Serious, how you doing? It says, why support something that doesn't enrich you spiritually, mentally, or financially? I mean, I totally agree with you. And again, as I said, and I'm going to say it again, I'm not telling y'all to go see this movie. I don't care if y'all go see this movie or not. I don't care if you support the movie or not. I saw it because I don't want to be disingenuous and be, mad or, in my opinion, loud and wrong about something I have no idea. Because what we do as Black people, sometimes we tend to defend things we have no knowledge of, or we are against something we have no knowledge of. And I feel like anybody that's in the journal, a content creator or journalist to some degree, I think you should go see it, so that way you can be a little bit more informed of what you're talking about. Now that little bitty, whatever you pay for, go see a movie. As a content creator, that ain't gonna make or break them whether you go or not. Now I get the symbolism. Oh, I'm gonna stand in solidarity and not see this movie. But however, can you have a conversation if you don't know what you're talking about? Went off the rails and you went on to Twitter and read everybody else's stuff that didn't see the damn movie. And yet all of a sudden you formed an opinion. Go see it for yourself. So that way you can really say, and I'm speaking to my content creators out there. So you can say what you saw. Like, yeah, it was some total BS, or, okay, it wasn't what I would been seeing or whatever. But have an informed conversation about it. Because as I said, we boycott a whole lot of stuff. And as Dr. Claude Anderson says, we Black people are actually good at boycotting. We boycott each other all the time. But we let white supremacy make it on every level. Just saying. And so let's see here. Corlina, how you doing? It says, my FBA behind will not be going to see the homie, slave movie produced by 2 white women. My money and energy can be spent elsewhere. And again, that is your right. Like I said, Viola ain't paid me a dime to tell y'all to go see this movie. And nowhere in this broadcast did I tell y'all to go see this movie. I just want to be clear about that. And Marty, you said, I'd rather be feared than loved. Yeah, but you know what? We as Black people, and I hate to say it, y'all might be mad, we want to be loved. You know what we want to be loved by? White supremacists. I just want them to accept me. I want them to love me. I ain't gonna make no waves. You know what I mean? Let's see here. And Robert, he says, I have seen Black transsexuals left and right this week. Yeah, but okay, can I ask y'all this? Because I don't have a dog in the fight one way or the other, but y'all seeing a transsexual man or whatever, and trust me, I'm confused as y'all. Does that take away from your masculinity? You seeing a transsexual or whatever transgender person, does that take away from you being a man? What they're doing? I mean, I'm not making any assumptions. I'm just asking. Don, that you seeing a transgender person, does that take away from you being a man?
No, it actually, I just shake my head, because at my age, I got out of school before they started all this miseducation with genders and families and all that stuff. But we saw it coming. So it's like it was like you looked up one day and you see all these different folks, the Academy folks, and it's like, where do they come from? They're all about 20, 30 now, It's like, oh, that's right, when they started indoctrinating them. So, no, I don't feel any kind of way. I actually feel, I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but I actually feel sad for them. Because you're woefully misconfused, woefully misinformed. And it's a society that has done this to you. You weren't built to be that, or else that's the way you would have come packaged. So, and you find that these people have a lot of problems in their life. And so I don't feel, unmasculine around them or anything to the effect. I just think of, wow, this is what you want to do with yourself. Okay, well, good luck with that. I got to keep pushing. I got places to go. And so, your gender preference doesn't make me feel one way or another, honestly.
Absolutely. So I'm just reading y'all comments, and I'm gonna try to keep reading. So Damon says, "Red or blue? What the f have they done for you?" I like that. You know what? We need to put that on a T-shirt or something. Jessica Jackson, how you doing? Yes, I'm here, and so are you. And I'm glad that you are here. And Michael says, "Economic sabotage of Black families and individuals." Okay, I'm sure you were responding to something. What it is, I don't know. Forgive me. Um, and Studio, you say boycott the movie is still a good move. Well, I mean, again, it's a personal decision. I'm not telling y'all to see the movie or not see it. I don't care if you see it or not, honestly. And Craig, how you doing? He says, "We care, chew bubblegum, and walk at the same time." I like that. And PD says, "Why are you so adamant about us not boycotting the movie?" Now, I know I tend to have to take a moment, you know. I know I've said like 50 times at least, and I just said it. I don't care if y'all see this movie or not. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't have any stock. I don't have any Disney stock. I don't have any stock in this movie or whoever made. I don't have any stock in this movie at all. I don't. You can see it, not see it. I don't. I really don't care. We're having a discussion about it though. And let's see here. Who else can? Let me see. Computer Blue, how you doing? It says it's a form of mass propaganda and misinformation in a society that is in a propaganda war. That's why. Okay, got you. And only Pamela's way. How you doing, by the way? And that girl, he says, right, Demetra, boycott all things that are not in our best interest. No, we ain't gonna do. We're not gonna do that though. We gonna, because this to me, I don't know. Y'all maybe tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm reaching. Why does it always seem easier to boycott our own people than the people that's really having a major effect on us? Why does it seem like we're so gung-ho to do that? But some of us, not me, I told you I don't eat out. But a lot of people who left church today, I bet you walked your ass right into a white-owned restaurant or, an Asian restaurant or somebody that didn't look like you. And I'm sure some of those establishments got a story to tell, but ain't nobody boycotting them. I mean, I'm just asking, so why is it so easy for us to boycott ourselves, who we don't really have a lot to do with why we're oppressed, but we won't boycott the people who really affect us in being oppressed? I don't know, just it's kind of strange. And Sean, how you doing? Says Stacey Abrams is in trouble in this election. She absolutely is. That's why she's, giving y'all the wink and stuff, you Black men. Hey, how y'all doing? How you doing, sugar? Y'all gonna show up to the polls, and Lord have mercy. Moist Twatkins. You say two gay white feminists wrote this movie? They might have. I don't know what their sexual orientation is, but I'll take your word for it. But that is true. Two white women did write this movie. And let's see. Thunder says they stated that the Dems lost about 20% of the Black male vote. The Dems are in trouble this November. Yes, and they know it, which is why they are knocking on your door, right? And Prophet T, how you doing? Says, why didn't we boycott Black Panther? The same narrative was portrayed a different setting. Yeah, everybody was talking about Wakanda forever, right? It wasn't a horrible movie. Of course, guys, I think we also need to understand that most of those movies are fictional, as was this movie. It was The Woman King. It was really drenched in fiction with a little bit of truth to it, It was like a feel-good movie, if you will. And it did make the homies heroic, if you will. They kind of rewrote history a little bit. I won't give away the movie. And Love JJ says, speak DK regarding the Dems, etc. Black community all quiet but loud as shit regarding this movie. Crazy, because that's how we operate. And you know what? White supremacy knows that's how we operate. They sprinkle some division out there. And what do? Like you ever seen chickens feed? When they throw the feed out there, they just get to pecking. That's what white supremacy does. They throw a little bit of controversy out there and we just attack it, right? We all over it.
We are a conditioned people, and we have to understand our condition. Dr. Joyce DeGruy wrote a book called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. You should read it. It's not that long of a read, but know yourself. Know what's been done to You've been conditioned this way. They attempted from the beginning to demasculize men and to promote a matriarchal setting that they could control. So go back and read the Willie Lynch letter. That has a lot to do with where we are today as well. And then they continue with this structural racism against the black man to further diminish his masculinity, where he can't get a job that will support a family. He has to have 2 jobs. And even now today, you can forget it. You can forget it. As a black man in California, which is like, I agree with my brother that was saying, he said he's saving all his money to get the hell out of a burning house. Brother, I'm with you. I'm be talking to my consultants next week. I'm just trying to decide where I want to go. But yeah, there's never been anything for black men here. And like I said earlier, if you kill the head, the body's going to die. And so, these folks have had an agenda to reduce our numbers. They've been lying about our percentage of the population because they want us to feel like we're small when we're not. They are afraid of us. And let me tell you the bigger agenda. Why they get between us and folks from the continent. Because they don't want us coming together. We will ruin them. If we would put aside this crazy bull crap, and there are a lot of people on the continent that are talking about that do understand this. We have a certain mindset whereby we know how to deal with these folks. And them folks don't. Their mindset has been set to be bootlicks and coons. But when we get down, see, that's why they had to do something in 2020 to deal with us, because they saw what was getting ready to happen. We was going to tear some stuff up, and they was going to need to make some changes and some concessions. But we would just come together, because the continent has everything. The continent has everything we need to have victorious lives and to reclaim our throne. And that's why they're moving there in droves, folks. Why they show you all these disgusting pictures and so forth and so on. The worst. Well, we got places that look like that in America. So that's what they're trying to do. They don't want you to have an understanding and a relationship with our brothers and sisters on the continent, because they know if we come over there with our know-how, because we're going to be talking about some of the folks y'all got to go. Y'all don't belong here. Y'all need to leave. And so know this. Their playbook is always against you. Everything you watch, everything you read, everything you listen to that they put before you, you didn't have to go find it on your own. All that's for your destruction and the destruction of your people. Let me get off my soapbox.
You're good. So I'm gonna. I see that I'm behind the comments, so I'm gonna skip down. Ruth Tracker, how you doing? And Sandra, how are you? Says, how come she can't be a black queen? Why a woman have to be a king? Always the black race have to be different. Well, I mean, I guess there's so many reasons, and I don't know why, except for in the end of the movie. And, since y'all not going to see it, I tell you, she had done an extremely great job of defeating the enemy in the movie, if you will. That the king labeled her as the woman king. Now, throughout most of the movie, she was called the general. She was the general of the Agoji. She's the general. So, but I want to say this now. This y'all, please, let's think logically here, okay? All of a sudden, now this is why I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Y'all ready? Kevin Samuels been telling black women, put your up. Been saying we operating in the masculine energy. A lot of people been saying we acting masculine. But here come a movie called The Woman King. Now all of a sudden, wow, woman can't just be a queen. Now, are we more concerned that the movie is called Woman King? Or are we more concerned with actually acting like queens? And I'm asking that to Black women, because this again, to me, signifies that we mad at an entity we do not have any control over. We mad that they called Viola the Woman King, but yet in some cases, Black women do act like a king. And I'm just putting out there the terms of masculinity. So why we got more energy for the movie than we do for some of our Black women who do operate in more of a masculine realm to usurp that of the man? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Tawana, how you doing? I really love that you brought that up. We should be, as Black people, operating in group thinking, that we get together and we bounce ideas and things off of each other that will help us move the ball. Unfortunately, we use the mind of the crowd. That is not always good, because if the crowd says this, then I'm going to say that too. But with group think, it actually calls for you to think. But when you go with the mind of the crowd could be loud and wrong, and it usually is. And we just go with it instead of saying, all right, that sounds all right, but let me do my own research to see what is going on here, right? Like, if I didn't go see the movie as a content creator, I'm going to be participating in the mind of the crowd, because I don't have it informed any information really to share with y'all. I would just be going off of what Twitter said or what people who are speculating are saying. So thank you for bringing that up. I really do love that. All right, let me skip down to the bottom a little bit more. Brother Samuel, how you doing? When you called me, I was actually in the movie. So I'm sorry that I missed your call, but you are right on time, brother. And let's see here. Beats by Dizzy, how you doing? I see you laughing. What's so funny? And Damon, you said, so are the actors sellouts for being a part of this movie? All money ain't good money. I mean, I don't know if they're sellout or not. And just, I mean, if you look at the movie for what it is, it's mostly fiction. So I could see maybe they're selling out if they were passing this movie on as it was real, like these are all facts. But they're clear that it's not a factual movie that is, based on, like, based means that is about kind of sort of a true story, but it doesn't say the true story. Because if it was a true story, then yeah, I think they would be selling out, because clearly it's not a true story. So I hope that helps. Anita says, so y'all got a problem with the image, but how many of y'all boycott the help? Ooh, Boycott the Help, 12 Years a Slave, Django, all of those movies portrays us as poorly, and they were written and produced by others. I'm gonna let that ride and let them answer that. LS, how you doing? It says, trans, whatever takes away from what is the proper gender. Yeah, I mean, I am all woman, okay? I ain't gonna switch it up. I am all woman 100%. I don't care what other people call themselves, because I ain't gonna, put no food on my table or take it off. So I really don't care what they call themselves, honestly. And Brother Samuel says, words on the movie by Minister Willie Muhammad. Okay, so here we go. Says, this is a must see. Don't fall into to the hype of placing women over men, etc., etc. A homie, which is documented, participated in slavery, etc. The movie addresses all of this, in my view, in amazing fashion. Awesome movie. Go see it. Bring your sons and daughters. Viola and all the cast did their thing. I want to say so much, but don't want to spoil it. If you understand the game of chess, you will understand this movie. And I can agree with that. I mean, I think a lot of people who are, mad about it on Twitter, rightfully so, I guess, but you don't even know why you're mad. I don't think anybody's passing this movie off as facts. There's some facts, but mostly fiction. So I don't know. And goodness rated. You say, you think that that's the case? Black people are just happy with the proximity to whiteness? I think a lot are, hence the civil rights movement. What do y'all really think that was about? Because if it was about human rights, we would be so far better off. But we wanted civil rights. We wanted to eat, sleep, live next to white people. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, how are you going to get civil rights when you don't have human rights? And we still don't have human rights. So we got this thing called civil rights, which I have always said is a false idea, because we haven't accomplished anything with it since, right? So I do think that's the case. And I know that was the case, especially back in the day. So And the PD says, who wants white supremacy to love them? The whole world is white supremacist. Come on now. Y'all don't act brand new around here. Y'all know how we get down. We get around massa and we want massa to accept us. Because if that wasn't the case, why aren't we better off? You know what I'm saying? So I think we should really maybe stop pretending that that's not the case, but I can't tell y'all what to do. And let's see. Right. So Damien says, I don't give a F about trans. I worry about the young kids being confused. Well, I would say this to y'all. If anything outside of you, as their parents are more influential than their parents, and I'm saying your children, the problem ain't with them, it's with you. Because if my daughter is looking to some other woman as more influential over me, I got a problem. You know what I'm saying? So we can't shield our kids from the things that are in the world. If you do, they're going to be green and they're going to be in for a horror story when they do get exposed to it. However, if we as parents, and I'm not saying this by you, Damien, I'm just saying in general, if we as parents are doing our job with our own children and we teach them and we educate them, that's like you are wrong as a day is long if you send your child to a white school system and you don't teach them about themselves. That's your fault. I'm just saying, because I hear a lot of times parents will say, oh, well, you know, they're not teaching our kids about themselves. Do you really expect white supremacy to teach your children about who they are? And if you are, kick your own ass, because you should be teaching your own children about who they are. That way, when they go into that school system, they can say, that ain't what I learned at home. Just like every other community, they don't go and expect somebody else to teach them who they are. So I'm just saying, what say you, Don?
Listen, a lion ain't gonna never teach you gazelle how to get away. Okay? That's off top. And you have the responsibility. That's the problem. You have the responsibility to shape your children because they're gonna be woefully misinformed, even as you were woefully misinformed. So it behooves you to understand your history, your real history, and who you are, and convey that to your child so that your child be like, hold up. That ain't what mama said. That ain't what daddy said. They said, we this, we that. We come from this, we come from that. But we know what y'all did. And the reason, like you were saying, we got civil rights. When do these folks ever been civil to us? That was a move. If y'all don't really understand, that was a move for the white woman. See, the bankers, oh my goodness, they play us. That was for the white woman to feel like she could be equal with her man, right? And they played her. Now, she equal with her man, she in the workforce, not at home. Guess what? Now they getting income tax from two people and not just the one. So them bankers could get their money that they're charging us. Their free money that they're charging us for these little raggedy pieces of paper. They ain't gonna be, hey, y'all better watch that paper, man. I'm getting rid of mine. I didn't get it out the bank. I just leave what I need in there to move around, but I ain't got it out the bank. I'm about to convert it. Seriously, I ain't going down with the ship. I'm not doing it. But everything is about the money and keeping us from progressing, because everything that we've ever, and we did invent everything. Everything we've invented, they only invented the patent office so they could steal what we invent. And that's how come we haven't progressed, because every time we start to come along as a people, oh no, y'all done got too far. Let's destroy that. Let's take that. So if you want to know why we haven't progressed, that's why. They do everything to undermine us, undermine Black people, because if we ever gain wealth, wealth is the access to power. Anyway.
Oops. Okay, absolutely. So let's see here. I want to just, Lois, how you doing? And I'm sorry, I'm behind in the comments. You say, when is the last time Jewish people argued whether they should support a movie or anything else showing Hitler as anything other than a murderer? Well, I think I haven't seen it, but the other thing we need to ask is, who owns the movie industry? Do you own it or do they own it? I'm just asking. All right. And so I see people saying I am double speaking, and if y'all don't mind me asking about what, because it's possible. So I don't know what do you guys feel like I'm double speaking about? And Corn, I think that's how I say it. Says I will show up to the polls when they start trying to put our boys in dresses. Got you. And Thunder, you says bingo, willing to boycott BS, but nothing worthwhile like boycotting Democratic Party. That's how we get down, though. We stand 10 toes down on boycotting our own stuff. Well, I don't know if that's our own stuff. But I saw here somebody says that that movie company, and Latrell, how you doing? He says it's Mrs. Davis and her husband's production company. So I don't know if that counts, but that's a Black-owned production company. Let's see here. Danny, son, how you doing? Again, I'm going to ask y'all to rise above your emotions. As I said, I don't care if you see this movie or not. Some people may want to see it, so I won't spoil it for you. But I'm gonna need you to come on out your emotions just a little bit, please and thank you. Let's see here. Adam, he says Black Panther was a fictional movie. Based on superheroes, y'all. The Woman King was a serious misinterpretation of history. Not the same. Come on, y'all. What the what? So again, nobody is saying that movie it's based, and honestly, if you look it up and do some research, it's based off a tiny bit of it, but most of the movie is, I guess, fantasy fiction. So nobody is saying that movie is fiction. But again, do Black people own the means of production? We do not. So again, when people come out with movies like Nate Parker, perfect example. How many Black people actually went and saw that movie? Now, I know that, it was a feminist attack, and a lot of our women was right behind the white feminists attacking Brother Nate Parker when he made Birth of a Nation. That movie tanked in the box office. So on one hand, we want to boycott this movie, and again, that's your right. But did you go see Nate's movie? I mean, I'm just asking it because it seemed like if he'd had the support that we have for boycotting this movie, he might have did all right. Did y'all see his other movie, American Skin? It didn't do that well as it should in the box office. So the movies that people do put out, we don't go see those. But when somebody put out something like this, which is your right, then we get mad about it, right? So I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm just putting my 2 cents in there. Who else is on here that I have not seen? Rose and Phoenix. I know that's a flower. Sorry, I mispronounced it. Says if Black men want to be called king, then behave like it. Ooh, I'm just gonna put that up there. Pioneer. You say it's been time for Black folks to leave California. Yeah, I mean, California, that's my hometown, home state rather. I love it. I was just there a couple of days ago. But yeah, California is, I wish I could live there, but it's not a lot of us there. But then again, what are we doing? And sorry if I'm freezing up, y'all, but what are we doing with the majority of us in the South? What major moves are we making as Black people in the South? Because that's where most Black people reside, is in the South. So what moves are we making here? And let's see. I'm just scrolling down to the bottom because I don't want to get behind. And Bruce Tracker, you say that this brother is speaking facts. All right. And Freddie B, how you doing? He says, if Black Americans and Africans would unite, we would be a force to reckon with. You're absolutely right. But before the Woman King came out, you also had a Twitter beef between Black Americans and Africans. So it's like we always fighting with one another to one way, shape, or another. But it would just be beautiful if we could all get on the same page and actually try to get something for us as Black people all over. But yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. And Goodness Rated, you say Black men need to be like other groups of men and work together and build. This is how other races deal with white people. Oh, yes, it would be so beautiful. And Marty, you say Europe wouldn't exist without African resources. And that's really most of the world. But brother, you are absolutely correct. Sister B, you say American citizens of slavery, ADOS, Yvette Carnell, Antonio Moore, have always called out the Democrats, Black gatekeepers, etc. They are now calling out the Woman King. Okay. I don't follow them, but I take your word for it. Let's see here. Love JJ says, but you just said getting out of Dodge, but in the same sentence, they don't want us coming together. Pick a cause. Well, both are true. They don't want us to leave because who would be the service industry? Who would fuel the prison industry? Y'all know it's predominantly us in there. So they don't want us to leave because we are a resource here. And go ahead.
They're always talking about that go back to Africa stuff, but they do not want us leaving. See, what they've been doing, they've been working on this plan. If you read a book by Michael Harrington, it's called The Other America. If you read that book, and it's not a big read, it was written in 1959, at any rate. We've watched it happen. See, they don't want us out of here until they have fully replaced us with the buffer class. And so what they've done is this. If you look up, see, I'm 58 years old, so I've seen a few things. They live in the places we used to live in. They have the jobs that we used to have. And now, to them, we are nothing but niggers. Okay? That's why we keep going down in wealth and so forth and so on. We are being replaced, folks. Or we have been replaced. Put it that way. We have been replaced. If you haven't noticed that. Look at our people. And I'm talking about descendants of chattel slavery here in America. We've gone down. I'm sorry. We haven't done better than our parents. And that's by design. So, off the soapbox.
Absolutely. And the Pioneer says, now was she a lesbian in the movie? Someone claimed this before. She was not a lesbian in the movie. See, that's what I'm saying. I mean, again, how are we going to speak something we have no knowledge of? She wasn't a lesbian in the movie at all. In fact, the women, the Agoji, they could not, they were married to the king, but they did not have sex with the king, and they could not be married or have any relations with anybody else. So no, she was not a lesbian in the movie. From what I saw, she was not. And let's see here. Who else came on here? And what's the 411? Hello, if I didn't already say that to you. Says, Demetra, what's your take on Viola's character? Did her character behave in a feminine or masculine manner in the movie? I didn't see her as either. I didn't see her as acting feminine, because they did have queens, if you will, that was married to the actual king. And I didn't really see her as masculine because she was a fighter. She was very athletic and things like that. And so when I hear somebody asking acting masculine, I think of somebody, a woman who was trying to maybe behave like a man. I don't know. But I will say this, in the movie, 99% of the time, she obeyed the king. She kept saying things like, yes, my king. Yes, my king. So that to me, if we're talking about being submissive, if you will, that is, in the eyes of a Western society, I guess, is that's being feminine, because like I said, she was bowing down to him. Yes, my king. Yes, my king. So I didn't really get either from her. She was a general in an army, but female soldiers aren't rare, right? So, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to answer because I didn't really see either, right? I guess that's kind of the best way I can answer that. Queen, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says, being a dark-skinned queen, I'm proud to see Cole Khan. Okay, and welcome, by the way. And Honeydew says, funny how in the dragon spin-off of Game of Thrones, their world is dealing with having a woman king, thus the fight for the throne. That is absolutely true. I've not seen the Game of Thrones, but I have heard about that. But what can we do? You know what I mean? Moni, how you doing? Glad that you are on here. Let's see here.
When y'all go to movies, they're actually telling you history in a distorted fashion. Raiders of the Lost Ark, what do you think that was about? The whole Star Wars series is about us. The Matrix, what do you think that's about? They're projecting what they're going to do beforehand so you can get comfortable with it. That's why they showed you that movie, The Purge, and what they're trying to do in Chicago now. So anyway, sorry, Demetra.
You're good. Brother Joe Nelly said, set on the best part. As an Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches, we as Black people must learn how to extract the positives and principles from things and build on that. We must reach for self-empowerment via positives and principles. Yeah, but, brother, they're talking about that for a long time, but unfortunately, a lot of us do not know how to do that. I don't know. We kind of draw some. I'm not saying some things we shouldn't draw hard lines on, but it's like, let's start thinking for ourselves, right? Like I said, I saw the narratives put out there on Twitterverse, and everybody ran with it without even seeing the doggone movie to, form a decision that's, I guess, has a little bit of, I've seen the movie, so I can actually say this, because a lot of people in the comment section have said, well, I heard she was gay. I heard this, I heard that. It's like, well, I mean, I don't know. That's not what I saw. Let's see, Melanin Future, how you doing, by the way? And Pioneer says, oh, so they admit that they're lying in the movie and added falsehoods to the truth. A lot of movies do that. That's not unusual that people merge fiction in with the truth. It's based off of. So it's not unusual. Are y'all trying to say that this is the first time that has ever been done in movie history? I'm just asking. Melanie says, just going to be off into reading some beautiful books coming up, and I may not be as much as I'm doing me right now, watching other things, checking out a lot of good information. Oh, Pioneer, so you're talking Pioneer, okay. And Serena say, they were sellouts and they really had no choice. Others had blades, others had guns, okay. And Beats by Disney says, the movie was good. Now research how true it was. Yeah, that's what I did. I did some research to see, actually researched it before I went, so I can, see exactly what was and what wasn't. But, I don't know. I can't tell people what to do. So Adam says it was based on real history. That's like a history book that tells lies about historical figures. Now that's an original concept. We acting like history books don't do that. Come on now. Surely y'all not brand new, right? And you say, Marty say, women are warriors, not leaders. Now I do beg to differ. There are a lot of women who are leaders. I mean, hell, some of y'all gonna go to work tomorrow, punch in, and answer to a woman. So I think we really kind of need to deal in logic here, because on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, all that sounds good. But like I said, a lot of people gonna go clock in and say, yes, female boss, what's my assignment today? And she gonna tell you what to do. And guess what? You don't do it. I'm just kidding. Not saying to you specifically, Marty, but I'm just saying in general, with the notion that women can't be leaders. Like, and DL, how you doing? Says that the homie were notorious slave trading monsters, and the title is disrespectful to Black women. Okay, we didn't cover all that. Yes, they were notorious slave traders. Yes, that is 100% true. And Melanie says it's not a true story. Is it? It's based off, and then built from that. So if I had to say, is it a true story? I would say probably 10% of the movie was based off of facts. That's just from my unprofessional synopsis. That's what I would say. All right, so let's go on. Let's see who else is on here. David Douglas, how you doing? He says, if you go see this movie, that means you support this garbage. Or if you go see it, that's your right to do that. We can't tell other people what to do. Just like I'm not telling you to go see the movie, but I guarantee y'all, every last one of y'all, some of y'all gonna watch some garbage that ain't helpful to Black people at all. So why y'all telling people not to go see this? Tell Black people not to see other things, Power, all of 50 Cent stuff. Who y'all think predominantly watching that? That ain't helpful to Black people. So let's get on a soapbox about it all. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying. And let's see here. Quayne says Black Panther is fictional, but it didn't stop Black people from going dressed in African dress. Shaking my head. Absolutely, there's all kind of Negroes out there dancing in the lobby, yeah, and doing a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? And Studio, he said, yes, please go to Africa and see what it's like. I have been to Africa and I'm going back. I love Africa. I'm just putting that out there. Sister B says the problem with Viola Davis is on top of this, taking this horrible role for this horrible movie, but actually tries to guilt Black people into supporting it. So I haven't seen that. I don't know if she's doing that or not. I don't necessarily follow Viola Davis like that, so I don't know. Maybe she is trying to guilt people into seeing it. But as of now, it's grossed over $20 million. That was when I saw this morning, so I'm sure that is more. All right, and so let's see here. I'm just trying to see who else. What's 411 says, Demetra, in your opinion, what do you think was the purpose of putting this movie out? I think it was purely entertainment. As you know, somebody who was fairly intelligent, I wasn't swayed to think one way or the other. I think it was pure entertainment. That's what I got from it. It was pure entertainment. But again, y'all looking at people on Twitter who have not seen the movie trying to form a narrative. How you gonna form a narrative that you know nothing about? So to me, it was pure entertainment. I didn't see it as trying to set an agenda. Now, David and I, when he was on here earlier, I did see they put the LGBTQ man in there, and it absolutely was out of place. He didn't have a role at all. He literally was just standing around. He probably said 10 words the whole movie. So that, it was like, yeah, okay, you had to do it because that's what most movies do, right? They throw that type of character in there for representation, I guess, but I don't know. I was entertained. Wasn't swayed to do anything. D. Reed, how you doing? He says, I'm going to go see it on Tuesday. And let's see here. Eric Jackson says, I'm talking to Sister B. Let's see who else says something on here. And I'm just trying to skip down to the bottom because I know I'm a little bit behind. And I want to make sure that I try to get everybody, at least people I did not see on here. Okay, everybody I've seen on here so far. Dusty Hotep, I saw you and I'm sorry I did not acknowledge you. How you doing? He says, yeah, this is why Black men are getting passports. I'm going to meet this again. Getting passports and leaving in mass. I don't even blame them anymore at this point. It's sad. Well, I'm going to say this to y'all. Passport bros, that it's your world. Do your thing. I mean, I don't, I don't see a whole lot of women or people trying to stop y'all. Because I kind of feel like this. You should date who you want to date. We'll never date, so I don't have any skin in the game as to who you date. If you want to go date other women, that's your thing, brother. But y'all acting like Black women are like, oh, please. Now, I'm going to keep it real. I would that y'all would stay and date Black women, but if you don't, then I don't care. I'm going to eat and sleep and do everything else I used to do, whether you go or you stay. So I think if that's where your passport is taking you to happiness, then you should go pursue that. And I do mean that in the most sincere way that I could say that. So I hope that helps. DL says, we haven't progressed because we are off code. We ain't been on code in a minute. We haven't. Every time I go on to Twitter, which I hate to do that, on trending, I see, I ain't gonna say what it is, but y'all know what y'all see on the same thing as mine. And it's Black people fighting with the Black people. We fighting with each other, but we fighting talking about we on code. Ain't no Black people on code. Because if we was on code, we would have moved the needle a long time ago. Being on code is something that's cute to say. It's fashionable. It makes it seem woke, but it's not what you say, it's actually what you do. So good point. Thandi says, speaking of money, the USD, US dollar says is equal to the euro right now, and gold and silver are always a good buy. That is a fact. Only Pamela's Way says, correct, the oppressors do everything to undermine us, and we just fall right in, right? Pioneer says, you have to make your own wealth and generate your own power. Yes, as Black people, especially, we need to do for self. Let's move the ball on that, right? Let's do for self. Let's stop giving away 97% of our total income that we see every year. $1.3 trillion and probably growing at this point. let's boycott everybody else we give our money to. But that's, that's too much like right? We want to boycott a movie, which I don't care if you do. That ain't going to affect us one way or the other. But you and us, we give our money to the oppressor every day, and then we look for everybody else to save us. Do for self. Dorothy says, amen, can't even make a water machine in peace. They either take it or destroy it, or lack of unity keeps the white supremacy strong. Yes, to Don's point about that's getting up out of here, right? Yes, PD, they do own everything. But we can own some things, we can start by not selling grandmama house. Let's start buying back the block. We can do that, but we don't do that, like we used to anyway. Robert, you says black women don't follow Eve's example. She was weak for the serpent people. I mean, again, that's Eve's choice. I know for me, I love black men. I'm gonna be with a black man and all of that. But Robert, if you could, as I just read Dusty Hotep, he said that y'all, maybe not you, but some black men are leaving with their passports to get other women. So, I mean, I think we should have the same energy for both, right? Marty says all this BLM is political moves to keep blacks predominantly at the bottom. I totally agree with you. And by the way, where is BLM, right? They done totally just disappeared. And Anita, you say, once again, we off cold. We are literally tearing this movie apart over nuances that don't matter. I mean, I agree with you. We're going to stand strong on that. Like, we are going to die on that hill instead of dying on the hill of things that actually matter to us, right? So, I mean, I agree with you. Michael says, if you were president today, I would mandate black Americans to leave America for Africa, etc. Yeah, but you can't make people do what they don't want to do. But I get where you're going with that. But nah, they ain't going to do it. Pioneer says black people have the potential to rule America, but it takes unity, courage, and proper strategy to do so. First, you have to desire the role of leadership. I agree, brother. I totally 1000% agree with you. All right. So how you doing? It says at some point, peer pressure is more powerful than parental pressure. But why though? Because, I was a child once and there was peer pressure, but I feared my parents at home more so than I wanted to bow to peer pressure. I feared that ass kicking that I was going to get from my parents. And my daughter was the same way. You know what I mean? So ain't nobody going to be more influential over my child than me. And I made sure of that. That's just me. Somebody said somebody's a sexual predator. Who was that? Let's see. Jean Michael, how you doing? He says exactly, fear, not hate. And Danny son, you say Lupita Nyong'o pulled out of the movie, and she went to Benin and studied the female warriors. That should say a lot, but no one is saying anything about that. So yeah, I did see that. She went there. She was originally, from what I understand, slated to play in the movie, and she did pull out. I heard that is why. I don't know if that's factual, but I did hear that is why she got very emotional and moved when she went and visited. So absolutely. Damon says, shout out to your pops and their garden, Miss K. Yes, I was in my dad's in California, and they have a garden, and it is flourishing and all of that. And so it was very beautiful and inspirational to see. I made a video about that. Let's see. And Duke Midwest, how you doing? He says, check out Tone Talk. Okay. And RG says the African Queen Warrior took over her husband's role because the British killed all the black men and male children in the village. So you're talking about this particular movie? Because if you're talking about this movie, I don't know if you've seen it, that's false. That's actually not what happened in this movie. So I just want to kind of put that out there. And Studio, you says Yvette Carnell was pushing for Biden to be elected, so she's a tool for the white man. I didn't want to say that because I know, a lot of people getting their feelings about the people they follow. So I'm going to put that up there and let that roll and let people do what it do. But yeah. Robert says we will never get on the same page if we don't agree on the truth. Now that I agree with. I no argument there. Sister B says the U.S. is Babylon and will be destroyed. We been need to call in on the Most High God. Yes. And Juggy, are you doing? Says y'all talking about the Lion King. You crazy? We ain't talking about no Lion King. Dorothy, thank you so much for the donation. And everybody, I love and appreciate y'all for the donations. Thank you so much for doing that. And everybody who's contributed, channel members, everybody, I love and appreciate you for that. And PD says, how do we build together when the few making the money sign legal documents not to put their money back into us? I agree. But you know what? They ain't the only ones holding all the money. We got a little money too. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's start small. Let's start some Black businesses and schools and, a whole host of other things. So that way we can get the ball rolling. We did it once before, right after slavery. I know I'm preaching to the choir, Black Wall Street and a whole host of other entities. We've done it before. Why can't we do it again? Why? Because we focus on a lot of low-hanging fruit activity. Like we on Twitter beefing over stuff that's like, is it move the ball? I know it's probably fun to some degree to get into Twitter beefs, but it's like at the end of the day, what is it really doing for us as Black people? And Marty says that's why jobs call the hiring people human resources. Very good point. All right, so let me get down to, let me see. Nita says it's funny that people want to call Nate Parker sexual. Oh, God, that's what they're talking about. Sexual predator and did not support Birth of a Nation, but did you know that Django was exclusively produced by Harvey Weinstein? Yes, indeed. And that right on the tip of my Quentin Tarantino, actually one of my favorite movie makers, if you will, Quentin Tarantino. But yeah, Harvey Weinstein's company, he made a lot of Quentin Tarantino's movies. But you are absolutely right. And of course, Nate was exonerated of that. So I don't even know why we keep saying that. All right, so let's see. Let me get down to the bottom. I apologize. I'm going to try to get people, you're welcome, Pioneer, that I have not acknowledged. And yes, Duke Midwest, they were slave traders 100%. We are not saying that they were not. Mr. Pirate Brain says, in a Black Panther, the female general was married, if you remember. Oh, you're talking about the Black Panther. Yeah, she was. It's a while ago since I've seen it. Typically, when I watch movies, I don't cling on to what happened unless it was like one of my favorite movies or something like that. Marty says The Purge is telling y'all, talking about what's going on in Chicago, Safety Act, if you will. Let's see here. Just Joking Dinosaur, how you doing? He says, great movie, emotional tearjerker, would watch again. Yeah, a lot of people said they did have that reaction, that it was a tearjerker. I thought it was a good movie, although I did go in there knowing that it was fiction. So I didn't go in there with the idea that it was real. And PD says, yes, they tell everything in the movies. And Jamal, he says, IA, a bottle, you need, I think in a battle, you need soldiers willing to sacrifice and fight. Yes, indeed. Yes, that's exactly what it's called, Brother Samuel, poetic license to take a little bit of facts and then expound upon it, embellish upon it. So you're absolutely right. Thank you for that. Danny said, I don't know why Lupita quit. I'm not in the know of why she quit. Did not follow it. And you're also saying boycott the Emmett Till movie. Okay. I have seen that playing in trailers here and there. I personally don't want to see the movie because I think Black people, we have been traumatized enough. We all know the story of Emmett Till, I think. So I personally wouldn't be interested in seeing it. I just don't like trauma. And that is a traumatizing story in and of itself. Let's see here. Brother Jonell. So that's true, Queen. They bank on how they have us programmed. We are programmed to move off emotions instead of actual facts. So in the nation, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan teaches us to rise above emotions into the thinking of God. Actual facts allow you to think rational and to be more precise in the math. This movie is a win for women. Yeah, I definitely would say that it's a win for women. Imagine that, right? But yeah, I wish we would be a little bit more logical in our thinking. And Don, we get ready to get out of here. I see you stretching and all of that.
No, I'm good. I was just moving around a little bit.
Got you. Yeah, but I wish we would be a little bit more logical in our thinking. Like emotions got us all jacked up. All. Wilbur, he says, as a black male educator who is a dude, it's extremely hard to get promoted into administration. All I want to do is be able to take care of my family without selling my soul for a position. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. A lot of times you got to do a lot of raccooning.
I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to get to that comment because I saw that, and it's like, Wilbur, man, somebody made a comment to you later in the chat, but I feel you, I understand, and it is for that precise reason, because you would be a role model to black boys. So understand the psychology and what they're playing with. You're probably well suited for that job, but you would be too much of a role model. My uncle became a dean at Crenshaw High School before he retired some years ago. Actually, he passed away. But he was an excellent role model for people. He used to tell this guy named Tracy, y'all know him as Ice-T, Tracy, you ain't gonna be nothing but a thug if you don't get it together. And look at Tracy now. Look at Ice-T now. So anyway, you would be too much of a role model, man.
That is absolutely right. Beast by Dizzy, you know you're finna get in trouble. It says Jesus is a fictional character, but ninjas still believe in it. I'm gonna let it ride. I ain't gonna add nothing else to it. God, Speed, how you doing? It says my issue is why is it called The Woman King? They always try to make the black woman masculine. I will not support this movie under any circumstances. We need to wake up and see the bigger picture. Okay. And RG says the warrior queen happened doing in slavery when the colonizers was taking away families from the continent. Why are we trying to act stupid? Because trust and believe they still fight us while we complain. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. Brother Sam, you put up a link, but I think they got to be on Facebook to actually click on it. So not sure, but I think it's talking about the Dahomey tribe. Well, thank you for that. And Marty says Gaddafi had all women bodyguards. Watch out now. Watch out. Do tell. And Moist Twatkins says you're blind to the agenda. The movie was written by two gay white feminists that put their twist on African history. Lord have mercy. I'm not even going to reply because I just feel like people are just bent on being silly. And so if that's what you want to be, then you don't need my permission not to be that. So I'm gonna let me just leave it alone. All right. So let's see here. Honeydew says, I'm gonna take it as pure entertainment, but it's definitely agenda as per our conversation here, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. And you say Demetra dating Marty O. Well, do tell. Pioneer says, it's okay. It's time for me to fry some catfish nuggets and make my own fried rice. Laugh out loud. Great show as usual, Queen. Thank you so much, Pioneer, for being here. Love and appreciate you. And so let's see here. All right, y'all. So yes, I agree, Marty. Stop buying from non-black as much as possible. Who else? Well, Michael says the real white supremacist is the federal government against black people. We better talk about it. And who else is on here? I'm gonna get out of here. I know Don is ready to get out of here. So anyway, I wish I could have read everybody's comment today, but I could not do that. And so we will get out of here. Love and appreciate you guys for being here. I know this was a spirited conversation as usual. I promised you guys a video about some in the manosphere talking greasy about Minister Farrakhan, and I do mean to get to it. I want to put it together, really good and all that. I don't want to, misspeak and all of that. But I see that there are some brothers in what y'all call the manosphere out there calling our dear Minister Louis Farrakhan a simp. And we are absolutely not going to put up with that, because you can say whatever you want to say about everybody else, but you will not. I'm going to say this too. For y'all in the manosphere, I don't necessarily hate the idea of the manosphere, but I'm going to say this, and y'all can get mad at me. Y'all can't call yourself a man, in my opinion, if y'all allow those brothers to get away with trying to form a narrative on the minister and calling him a simp because he said that heaven is found in a woman. They said, in their opinion, that heaven is not found in a woman and called him a simp. But if you listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you not only heard him take men to task, you also hear him take women to task. So I'm begging y'all, do not allow that narrative to go forth about the minister and him to be disrespected any more than he's already been disrespected, and allowing those brothers to call him a simp. In my opinion, it's gone too far. So I'm just gonna put it out there. That's gone too far. I will do a video on it. Again, I love and appreciate y'all. Laya, I hope I said that right. How you doing? But anyway, and Marty says all the MGTOW dudes are heading for the rainbow. I didn't say it, he did. That's right, God dog it. Nobody is disrespecting the minister. So I love y'all. We'll see y'all later. I don't know if Donovan will be on here Tuesday, but if not, I'll see if somebody else wants to do a podcast with me. Maybe we'll talk about it on the podcast, but we're not going to disrespect the minister. That's not what we are going to do. So love and appreciate you. Let me put this up here. Brother Jonell says they can go to the sky and get heaven if that's what they want to do, but hands off the honorable minister Farrakhan, and that is fair warning. Word up. So y'all heard it there. So we're going to get out of here. Love and appreciate y'all. See y'all.